Hopefulness 2.0, March 15th. That's the remainder of the dough from yesterday. So the reason I've been doing this whole, just sticking in the fridge thing is because Adam Ragusio's videos about pizza and pizza dough and stuff. Because, I want to say a couple months back, maybe early mid-January, I had put some dough in the fridge, and then I basically just kind of forgot about it for 3 weeks almost. I don't know if it was 3 weeks, but it felt like it. But I opened up the dough on one of the containers, and there was 2 or 3 left. Because I had made some pizza dough and then just continually forgot. And it was specifically pizza dough. I mean, it's all the same in the end, but I had split it up on purpose soon after I made it into 4 containers. And when I had finally opened one of them back up after so long, it smelled like beer. And that was pretty awesome, to be honest. That was a good discovery. The fact that I had basically made something that smelled like beer. And I was like, ooh, let's try this out. And so I did, and while the pizza didn't it didn't fluff up much, it's not that big of a deal, really. There's one ibuprofen left in there. I brought in another one right now, yeah. But the fact that it did that makes sense, because the yeast is going to do its thing after a while, and part of its thing is effectively dying off. But in doing so, I basically made beer, and it was great, and the pizza tasted so good. The pizza crust itself was just so good. I was honestly shocked as to how good it was. So, yeah, that's a thing I'm totally down for. Let's put some dishes in here. I should have the cutting board out and about. I guess I could just wash that by hand, I suppose. Don't wanna, but it's probably the best way to go about it. I'm gonna make my coffee here in a minute. I shouldn't be up at this time because it's what? Almost 2:30. To be at work at 11, but I was half an hour late almost last night because of the train situation. I don't know what the hell's going on with their system, but I think I mentioned it yesterday. I could be wrong, but the whole, it seems like they've been delaying some of the rides several minutes at certain points. And so I'm getting to work, I'm leaving at 9, but I'm getting to work closer to 10:50, even though I'm not doing any changes really to my schedule. Whereas before, if I left before 9 o'clock, I could get to work at 10:20, 10:25, 10:30, something like that. And yesterday didn't help because I was at Union Station for a fucking hour and then had to spend $30 on an Uber just so I could get to work, just so I could be late to work, but not, super late. So that didn't help. It's probably rain related. But now, I'm freaked out, paranoid that, I might not have, that my not so reliable transportation option has become less reliable. So that's annoying as hell. You know, I'm seeing the value in like the giant, you know, one basin sink situations. Like this thing in the middle, just for the most part, is useless. Like I'm glad that sink designs have been changing, because it doesn't seem like it's really necessary to have two sink basins like this. Because I mean, usually the double design was because like on one side you were gonna hand wash and the other side was like rinsing or whatever. Now it's just the divider makes it harder to utilize the full space. So yeah. Oops. So I'm gonna make some coffee so I can heat myself up for a bit. Some chocolate. So I got vanilla flavor, got some chocolate, some sugar. Put those in the bottom so that when I push the coffee through, it interacts with them immediately, and then, a little bit more chocolate than I wanted, but whatever, that happens sometimes. Let's get a tiny pinch of salt, like just enough to kind of change things up a bit. A tiny splash of vanilla. And now I have a bit of the flavor base that I want to add. I need some water. Put it in the kettle. If you drink coffee, I would say this is the better way to go. Get a kettle. And because I mean, it heats up a lot faster than if you try to boil it on the stove. Now, of course, if you have a drip machine, go for it. It's probably the easiest and cheapest way to do it. And that one is more economical if you have a lot of coffee to work with, and if you drink a lot of coffee, or if there is a lot of coffee being consumed in your household. See, I don't have any chicken, I don't have any bacon prepped. I'm not gonna make pizza just yet. I'm not gonna do it on camera at the moment because there's no real reason to. But but I do need to prep this. So here's the container in which you put your scoops in here and you fill it up to however much you want it. Here's the basic strainer at the bottom, and then there's the paper filter there. And like, that part's done. And now here's a funnel that you put on top of that, so that then you can take your coffee. This has a mixture of this coffee and the Awesome Coffee Club coffee that I had. Because like neither one of them were really that impressive, and so I said screw it, let's just mix them together. The Awesome Coffee Club coffee is a little more rough on the grind. And from now on, I'm just gonna get stuff from Trade Coffee whenever I want coffee, since they have just a one-time purchase thing. And then I just gotta rinse these off. Now, just to shake it, get it settled in there. I usually put it up to the 4, sometimes even higher than that, because I'm just like, I don't really care about concentration. I just want what's in those beans. I didn't get anything from the store yesterday, which I guess kind of works out. Some heavy cream and some milk. I'll do it soon enough, but it's kind of good that I didn't do it. Just because, like, I kind of don't really need any of the stuff at the moment. Mostly it was like trying to get some like NyQuil and some cough drops, but the coughing is mostly stopped. NyQuil's not really necessary at the moment. I got home and I didn't even brush my teeth and I just fell asleep. And I know that's gross and all that crap, whatever. Now sometimes I test the water temp just to see. That's hot enough. I mostly just listen to see if it starts boiling even a little bit. Because if I turn it off then, turn off. The pouring of hot water is exactly the same sound every time. And it's actually kind of cool. So now I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm going to stick it in here and stir. It helps get the water starting to flow. The ground's floating in the water. It's slowly moving through. Rinse this off. Now, take the plunger, stick it in. Get a wiggle in there so it sticks, and I'll show you. Since this can be done one-handed. Hear that? Tinkle, tinkle. I'll just push slowly. Let it push all the water through. Lift up a little bit. And then I'll push through once it reaches like sort of the gaseous state. You can hear it now. And basically just push all the gas through. Alright. It's pretty much done now. And doing that last part often, especially if I push hard enough, will create like a little head on the top, some crema. Doesn't always happen. It's no big deal. Sometimes the crema just kind of dissolves into the rest of the coffee. Also no big deal. But it's nice and flavorful. Push the rest of it out. Try to water down a little bit. Rinse everything off. And then it's ready to go soon. Now the thing is obviously, a rinse isn't going to be a full clean. But I don't use this really that often. Like, I sometimes do it daily for like maybe 3 or 4 days in a row, if that. I don't drink coffee nearly as much as a lot of other people do. It's funny. I'm at home and I'm still pulling it up over my face even though I'm not around anybody. It's just a good habit. That's why certain things make sense to just do. I'm going to put 50 grams of cream in here. 51, that's close enough. Put 49 in there yesterday, so it's no big deal. And then I basically put in what would essentially be the remainder of a cup. So about 190 to 200 grams of milk. though. Not today. That's fine. Whatever. I guess I just have more water this time around. But that's fine. And now I have a lovely little cup of coffee. And it'll be easy to drink straight up because cold cream and milk. I cooled it off. So now I'm not going to burn the hell out of my mouth. It's almost warm, or room temperature essentially. It's more like body temperature. Actually, I could probably find out exactly what temperature it is. Just about body temperature, in fact. 98.2, 0.4, 0.6. Wow. I made body temperature coffee. I would say that's probably my ideal temperature range for coffee. I need a new fucking thermometer. It doesn't like to turn off. Doesn't like to turn on. It doesn't like to operate the way that I want it to. After pizza, I think I'm going to prep some rice since I have some. I haven't had much rice in a while, but I've got some. I got some chicken broth that I need to contend with because I ended up leaving some chicken broth out, or I don't know if it was the chicken broth or if it was the rice or if it was both at two different points. But at one point I definitely had to throw away some rice, which kind of sucked because I made it and then I just forgot. But yeah. I got home around 8:30ish. I basically just went straight to bed. I woke up around 1 o'clock. So I had about 5 hours of sleep, maybe. So I'm probably, I mean, this coffee isn't really going to help me too much staying awake, but whatever. Today's Wednesday. It's just a normal day at work. And Thursdays is when I've decided to change to counting the meds. Because even though I still do it pretty much the same way as I've done it before, which is I don't count it until after my lunch break. The guys are usually in bed before. It's like they're supposed to be going to bed around 11 o'clock anyway. That's when lights are out. Sometimes people will lag behind it. It's what happens, especially because like some people can't sleep. But with an earlier bedtime, with an earlier lights out, generally speaking, the vast majority of the house is getting ready or already in bed before I even get to work on, Sundays through Thursdays. And so there's less to have to worry about and pay attention during the first portion of my shift, so I can just kind of take care of that basic stuff. And if like last week, there was like nobody in the house. It took me less than an hour to count everything, maybe 45 minutes. At one point, I think it took me like 30 minutes to count all the meds. I don't even have to deal with controlled substances right now because nobody's taking any. And so all I have to do is check to see if there's any controlled substances in our system, and if there aren't, I'm not touching them. I don't have to go count anything for that night. So that's just one series of steps that I don't have to take. Which was kind of efficient for last night because this time sensitive issue of dealing with putting on all the blood pressures and stuff before midnight. It's like it's not necessary to get them done before midnight. It makes life easier if you do, because then you don't have to input the date, which is anywhere between like 3 or 4 more clicks per person. And that adds up, especially if you got like 20 people, which isn't happening right now because there's a lot of there's a lot of repainting going on in the house. And it's like the landlord special from what it looks like. It doesn't really look like they're actually doing. It's like they're not stripping the paint and everything like they're supposed to. It doesn't look like it. It's just they're painting over stuff. And it doesn't look like they're doing it efficiently, in the sense that it doesn't really look good at the end. They're doing it efficiently in that they're just slapping on paint, letting that shit dry as fast as possible. So just at a glance, it looks okay, but then once you look closer, it's like, whatever. It's like, pop your head in, ooh, this looks nice, and then you look closer, and it's like, this was not the greatest paint job. Even though they're, like yesterday, they're just taping the place up. I mean, yesterday wouldn't have been a good time to paint anyway, because it was literally, raining all day. So, all right, I think I've lost all train of thought, so have fun.